Broadcasting Production presents Alternative Nursery Rhymes. Radio dramatized by Ralph Sanko. Managed and supervised by John Medina. Produced by Reynald Padilla. Recorded by Kevin Jimenez. And narrated by Kialdal Catalina.
The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there was an old mother pig who had 3 little pigs. She did not have enough food to feed them. When they were old enough, she sent them out into the world. And so the 3 pigs went out into the world once they had grown. The pigs started a sugar business and profited very well. Each of the 3 pigs shared their money from their company and parted ways to settle down. The first pig was very lazy. Because he didn't want to work, he built his house of straw.
It's a beautiful day, a bountiful time to play.
The second pig worked a little harder than his brother, but he was still somewhat lazy. His house was made of sticks. The 2 danced and played all day.
That's enough work for me. I can feed my belly.
The third little pig was a hard worker. He built his house out of bricks, and it even had a chimney and a fireplace.
What a lovely house I've made! Now I may relax in my fireplace.
The next day, a wolf happened to pass by a straw house. He smelled the scent of a pig inside, and all of a sudden, his belly rumbled, and he decided to approach the pig. So he knocked on the door and said,
little pig, let me in, let me in.
But the pig saw the wolf pause through the keyhole and answered,
No, 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 not by the hairs on a chinny chin chin.
The wolf grew annoyed and said,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
So the wolf blew, and all of the straw fell in half-hearted clumps. The first pig ran as quickly as he could. He found the second pig's house and hid with him. The wolf continued down the lane and saw a house made of sticks. Again, his nose was greeted by the smell of the pigs. He knocked on the door and said,
little pig, let me in, let me in.
But the little pigs saw the wolf's pointy ears through the keyhole and answered,
No, 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 not by the hairs on chinny chin chin.
The wolf became very frustrated and said,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
And the wolf blew and blew until the house was no more. Sticks were strewn about, and the pigs ran away before the wolf could even talk to them. Upon reaching the third pig's house, they slammed the door shut and waited. The wolf kept walking along and eventually found a brick house along the road. He heard the squealing of the 3 little pigs, so he knocked on the door and said,
little pigs, let me in, let me in.
But the little pig saw the wolf's pointy ears through the keyhole and answered,
Now look by the hairs of our chin chin chin.
At this point, the wolf was furious. The pigs kept running away and he was fed up with it. He inhaled as much as he can and said,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
The brick shook from the force of the wind, and it looked like as if the house would hold.
Brothers, will the house be blown under?
The big shakes and vibrate. Oh, what will become of our fate?
Nonsense! Do not frown. My house cannot be blown down.
But it did get blown down. The wolf huffed and puffed like he never had in his life. Soon after, the bricks fell one by one, and the pigs were left with nowhere to run.
Little pigs, I am in, I am in. Let me speak to your chinny chin chins.
What is it you see? This How much to be your meal?
Little pigs, little pigs. It is some sugar that I need. Sugar to flavor my delicious baked wheat.
Sugar for your delicious wheat we may give, but for our houses we cannot forgive.
Little pigs, little pigs. I am very sorry. I blame my tendencies for they make me silly.
Apology accepted, our canine friend. Let us forget and give this chase an end.
And so the three little pigs and the wolf rebuilt their houses. They exchanged treats and pleasantries, and the pigs gave the wolf the last bag of sugar. The wolf coaxed his sweetened sugar and ate it. His eyes welled with joy. He huffed and puffed into the air. Thus our story ends there.
The Lion and the Mouse. Once upon a time, a lion lay asleep in the forest, his great head resting on his paws. A long day of hunting demanded rest, and so the lion spent his afternoon with a nap. Eventually, a timid little mouse stumbled upon the lion's resting spot. Seeing the lion's proud figure frightened her, and in her haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose. The lion roared as he roused from his slumber. He snagged the creature with his huge paw and prepared to kill her.
Oh, great lion, please spare me.
Why should I? I have no reason not to end your tiny self.
Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you.
A tiny mouse like you? Such bewilderment.
The lion was amused by her request. As a sort of payment for such entertainment, the lion let the mouse go out of pity and generosity. A few days later, while stalking his prey in the bushes, the lion was caught in a hunter's nest. Unable to free himself, he roared loudly and filled the forest with his voice. The mouse recognized his voice and quickly scampered over.
Mr. Lion, please wait for a few moments. I will set you free.
Do it faster, imbecile! I can feel an itch in my lower hind and I cannot scratch it. Be useful in Nordero so that I may be free.
You know what? You're right. I would be of no use to you. I'm leaving.
The mouse left the lion to his fate after the terrible way he spoke to her. That was the last she had ever heard from him after that, and all was peaceful in the forest.
The Crow and the Pitcher. Once upon a time, there was a thirsty crow. The weather had become dry, and the crow wanted nothing more than a sip of cool water.
I would love some water right now. Fresh, cool water in my beak. Water to keep me fresh and neat.
The crow stumbled upon a pitcher and flew excitedly towards it. Upon reaching the pitcher, however, the crow had discovered that it was not full. The pitcher had a small amount of water remaining.
Maybe if I reached in, I could drink the water. Ha!
And so, the crow tried reaching in. However, the neck of the pitcher was too narrow.
Ha! No!
The crow became thirstier. No matter how hard he tried, he could not fit his head inside the pitcher. He was about to die from the lack of water. Suddenly, the crow thought of putting pebbles in the pitcher. He put a few in and saw the water rise, but felt that it was too much work.
At this rate, I'll never be able to drink the water.
And so, a brilliant idea came to the crow.
Ha! What if I were to find a lake or river? Surely a big body of water will not dry up in the summer heat.
But just as the crow had spread its wings to prepare for flight, a deafening boom could be heard, and the crow's dying body fell flat on the ground.
Ooh, gee. I found to feed my hungry belly. My. I'ma get you and I'ma make a fine barbecue out of you. Ha! Oh no!
The hunter's lips were drooling with hunger. He took the crow and prepared a fine meal.
Mama, I do love me some cow pie.
This radio play is brought to you by UHB Productions, managed and supervised by John Medina, produced by Reynald Fidelio, recorded by Kevin Jimenez, and narrated by Kielda Catalina.